Hello, my name is Javier Vergara Petrescu. I am an architect and urbanist. I am the executive director and co-founder of Ciudad Emergente. Ciudad Emergente is an NGO based in Santiago de Chile, and we try to build better cities by empowering and giving tools to people to create better environments. Our experience has been collected in more than 10 countries. So I'm very happy today to be part of this youth leadership online course. And I would like to inspire you with some tools that we have used for creating better cities and better environments. So why it is important to understand local context. I will try to be more specific and I will try to show you why it is important to understand your community to tackle environmental challenges. Okay, so for this, a key point is getting to know each other. And for local context, this means getting to know your community and your neighbors. Yeah, you will say, what a simple thing to do, right? There is a very interesting thought that I would like to share with you before from the founder of the World Resource Institute, Gus Speth, that said that scientists didn't know how to do this. For many years, he thought that, for instance, climate change and biodiversity loss could be tackled with good science. But he said he was wrong. He realized that one of the biggest problems that we face today is the sense of apathy, the selfishness, the greed that actually make us be distant from each other. So eventually, environmental scientists don't know how to do this, of getting people together to create bonds and social capital. So there's something that we need to do about this, and there's something that we can do about this. And this means getting to know where we live, the people that lives around us, getting to know the community where we live, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about as a tool. Okay, so this will help us enormously to understand the context and the environmental challenges of the area where we want to operate or where we want to do a project, right? So what tools can we use for this? Okay, so now I will tell you about a tool that we use at Ciudad Emergente, and hopefully you can use it, you can replicate it, or you can make it your own and adapt it to your local context. It is a very simple but effective method that we call El Gran Malón. Okay, so this in plain English would be like a sort of a community potluck, a shared meal, or a big lunch that can help you to get to know your community by sharing and bringing something to share with others, right? This is a tool that is meant to be applied in public spaces, okay, in the streets of your neighborhood. So think about it as an intervention that can be very attractive to bring people together and start to understand in your local context. So for you to understand why we do it, why at Ciudad Emergente we use this tool. We started Ciudad Emergente 10 years ago, and one of the reasons behind it was the need of bringing back simplicity and also common sense to urban planning, right? At the time that we started, we were very frustrated with the way we used to plan, design, and create cities, because most of the time it's done in very small circles of experts with very little participation of people. So therefore, we felt that the tools that were available at that time were not enough to effectively engage communities on improving their neighborhoods and areas. So we started thinking out of the box, and we started using streets as our field of work. So how does it work? So first, you need to do a temporary street closure. This is fun, okay? Temporary street closure. If you think that in the area where you live you cannot do this, there's no problem, because you eventually can use a plaza, or you can use this tool in a public space. But the important thing that we think is that it needs to be a comfortable and also a space that can help you host people in a very secure way, right? So we suggest a street because you have streets everywhere. Like no matter the city where you live, you will find a street. So it's just a matter of thinking in a different way, right? Try to envision a different future for this place. So for example, at Ciudad Emergente, we start taking over the streets that were thought for parking cars, and we transform them into living spaces, like putting chairs, putting like a table, bringing food to a public space, right? We realize that simple actions were very powerful to leverage the attention of local authorities, and also very powerful to bring people back to the streets. So this is also interesting because you start making people to feel part of the conversation and the discussions of the decisions that are shaping your environment. So this tool, for you to know, we frame it under a concept that we call tactical urbanism, right? This is explained in very simple terms as short-term actions that can help you to leverage long-term changes, right? Short-term actions that can help you to leverage long-term changes. So now, something very important of tactical urbanism to be effective is that these methods needs to be measured, right? We need to try to collect as much data as we can from these actions in the most transparent and open fashion that we can. This, for example, can be done in the shape of a survey that you can apply during your intervention, or also through methods that can help you to count the number of people that are using the public space at that time. Or if you want to go a step further, you might think, for example, on using some sensors that can help you to understand the environmental impacts of your intervention. For example, the air quality during an intervention, or how can you reduce or how much you can reduce the pollution of a street when you have less cars and more people. These data will be very important later on to leverage the impacts of your intervention. So now we have an invitation for you. It's time to try out this method in your own community. Have you ever organized a block party in your neighborhood or in your city? Well, this might be the chance to start understanding this local context by taking action, right? In Ciudad Emergente, we have a very simple guide on how to do this. If you go to www.elgranmalon.cl, you will find this information. I will just go through very quickly on this. But first step, it's a 3-step guide, right? The first step is try to motivate your neighbors and try to define a place to do this action and this tool, right? Think about who might be willing to get together. Think about your friends, think about your family. Don't be afraid of knocking the door of the people who live in your same building or the streets. Try to break the ice, and even you can send them a WhatsApp message, or just try to use digital tools to reach out the community. Very important is to define a place where you want to do this. It can be the street out of your house. It could be the plaza. As I said before, streets are very attractive because you can find streets everywhere. It's just a matter of envisioning a different present and future for these spaces, right? Very important though, if you want to do it in the streets, reach out also your local authorities, because they might get very excited about this too, and they might support you with some resources that are very important. For example, security to do the street closure or other matters. So first step was motivate your neighbors or community and define a place. Second step, very important, starting to set up the potluck or malon and start thinking about making it nice. If you want to invite people to come to this place, you have to make it beautiful, right? So think it also as a collaborative meal. Of course, during COVID times, you have to be very smart on how you engage and invite people, because you have to take the sanitary measures. But define this as a fun party that everyone brings something. Don't forget to invite the kids and children, because when children are in public spaces, so much fun and so many other things happen. Also, don't forget to invite the other people of the neighborhood and the area. Think in very practical terms for this, right? Try to think about tasks that you can assign to people. And don't be afraid of asking people to bring things. For example, neighbors can bring their own chairs, they can bring their tables, they can bring even a plant, a ping pong table, or something that they would like to contribute. Remember that this action is for having fun. And the success of this will be also in the terms of how many people feel this as their own. Try to empower them with something cool. Make sure that everyone is involved on this. Try to make it like very inclusive and open. So third steps, it's very important. Enjoy this. Enjoy doing this action. It's actually a very powerful way of starting a conversation about understanding the context of where you live and the environmental challenges that are facing your communities. We suggest that for enjoying this and also make it like very effective, you can apply some tools to measure the feelings and the thoughts of people. So we will suggest you to apply a tool that we call the tree of ideas. It's a very simple method that consists on a sort of a lambda structure that you can hang on a public space. It can be also like a sort of a canvas that you can put on the public space with an open question that can be a sort of a SWOT analysis, like understanding the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats of the neighborhood with very open questions. And you can invite everyone to respond this qualitative tool that will help you to bring like very open and attractive points of view of people. Other tool that you can apply, and we will suggest this, is a more quantitative tool that will help you to understand how many people can attend this like Malone or block party. So you can actually work with volunteers to measure how many people attend this, and you can create an imaginary line in each end of the street or the plaza where you're going to do this activity and count how many people passes through this imaginary line to have a first idea of how many people attend the intervention. Very important if you can do this like before and then during the activity. So then you will have a comparison of the impact of putting like people or giving people back the public spaces. So those two tools that are very attractive on top of course, the activity of the Malone, right? So one key aspect during COVID times is that depending on how the situation is on your specific country, you might have to adjust the number of people that you would like to invite. So the important thing is that you take the necessary measures, like invite people to use masks and have this like very effective social distancing in the public space, but you can still do it. Like, for example, you can invite neighbors also to like use their balconies when you do the activity and share it in a different way, right? In Ciudad Emergente, we realized that this is a very powerful method to engage people, and last time we did this Gran Malone activity, we gathered more than 10,000 people in one day, in more than 300 different like Malones or potlucks along the country. So it can be definitely a very effective way to start understanding your context and like expand your impact. You might like to try this. So thanks for watching this video and good luck with the online course.
We hope you liked this episode. For more information and resources about the ideas and tips discussed in this episode, check out the worksheet dedicated to support your changemaker journey. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media or visit youthforaplanet.com. See you in the next video!